I'm Matt, pronouns they, them, and this is My Desire to Inquire, an interview show. As the name hopefully implies, I am a very, very curious person. In both senses. My hope is to apply my inquisitive nature to interviews with people of Pioneer Valley who can offer unique perspectives to the listener. Let me explain by jumping back to the late 2010s when two friends and I co-founded a tabletop game company after a half-joking text turned into an actual idea. That first idea also turned into a successful Kickstarter. A barely over-the-finish-line successful Kickstarter that ultimately didn't cover all the costs, so a lot of shipping was paid out of pocket. After that initial experience, I always wanted to document one of our next games from start to finish. My interest was not simply to show the development of the game, but the entire process. Have you ever tried to write a rulebook? You have to be clear and concise while also assuming every misinterpretation anyone could ever have. But the rulebook is one of the very last things in the process. Before you can have a rulebook, you have to spend hours and hours and hours playtesting your game yourselves, playtesting your game with friends, and demoing the game at events so you can try and break every single rule you came up with from every possible angle. Carefully iterating because things that seem like simple changes have cascading effects. You have to make any card layout as efficient and readable for gameplay purposes, but also styled and often with flavor text. To run a Kickstarter, you have to make it look breezy, but you also first have to run a lot of numbers. You have to get production quotes. You have to understand that shipping is super expensive and, oh, what's that? You didn't know that VAT tax was a thing? Stretch goals are fun, but they also affect production and shipping costs. You get the idea. I wanted to document this process because I love projects that explore processes. Now my hope is to take that energy and apply it to the interesting people around me. I want to talk to them about the things they do and the unseen parts of those worlds. If there's one thing that I learned from demoing and pitching games, it's that a whole heck of a lot of humans are very presumptive. I think it's something that has become worse as our culture and entertainment exponentially push us to make quicker and quicker judgments with less and less context. It forces people to assume they have context that they really just don't. That is exactly why I want to talk to people about their lives and processes to provide as much context as I can to the world. And I want to do it with the inquisitiveness of Sesame Street. On my initial list are artists who work on uncommon projects and owners of uncommon shops, but I want to talk to teachers or ecologists or local officials. I want to learn about things I don't know about. Not just the how and why, but also the hows and whys of how the how and why came to be. By doing so, I'm hoping to do my part to stop people from asking in judgmental tones, why would anyone do that? And instead ask with interest, why would anyone do that? Then maybe even try and seek out answers. My apologies to all the audio purists. I'm not setting up a studio. Instead, I have planned my gear to be portable. Much like Ariel, I want to be where the people are. I want to be chatting and have the guest be able to point over their shoulder to something that we're talking about. We could possibly even walk around and explore the space audibly. The first episode, though, is in my kitchen. There are some noises. I forgot to unplug the fridge. I feel bad about that. But if I'm going to be meeting people where they are, the sound won't always be perfect. But I will do everything in my power to make it as listenable as possible, obviously. I also plan to shoot social media videos with guests along the way. This will just be an additional way for the listener to get to know the guest with visuals of their work or fun stuff like Would You Rather games. I'll launch a simple website so I can keep any photos or videos in an easy spot for the listener to check out. I also want to give you what will most likely be a completely unnecessary promise. If I should ever run advertisements, it will never be a 5-minute ramble about mattresses or ready-to-cook meals. First of all, I used to work in radio. I believe in tight 15, 30, and 60-second ads. More importantly, I would want to advertise upcoming events like festivals or pub trivia nights. I would want advertising that is useful to the listener and the advertisers. I have no interest in ads that simply generate revenue as people press the fast forward button. And even without ads, I plan to look up free events happening around the area and put that into an ad spot as a sort of public service announcement. This was also something from my radio days. I'm really just trying to pull a lot of the old FM radio pieces that support strong local community. This show is all about being focused on Pioneer Valley and our community. So that's about it. I'm kind of nervous right now, but I'm really hopeful that this is going to be a fun journey for everyone. And finally, the music for this show was composed by Kumiku on Bandcamp. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. I'm just going to spell out the address. It is ChezMonPlaisir.bandcamp.com. The album is Incredible Cart Game, cart with a K. And once I heard the first song title screen, I was like, oh, this is like a good theme song. And the whole album is just great music to be able to use for this show. And thanks to the Creative Commons licenses, I was able to buy the album and now have good music for this show. So thank you to Kumiku for making music on the internet that I got really jazzed by. All right, I'm really going to stop talking now.